was a shadow in the government's game. Pawn as a child with no face and no name. They stole my past to leave me cold and alone. Always searching for a place that could call home. I was lost in the dark, just a tool in the hand, till she pulled me close and helped me understand. Now the fire inside is starting to rise. I can see the truth through 1,000 lies. Now I tear through the veil, leave holes in the sky. I can read every thought in the blink of an eye. Danica, my witch, she's the magic in me. Yeah, I finally found what they took from me. With a hellhound beside me, I'm standing my ground. No longer a ghost that's never been found. In the dead of the night, I can hear the call. All the ghosts of my past scratching through the wall. My eyes change colors, the power has grown. With Crowley the hound, I'm never alone. I used to be hollow, a man made of glass, but now I am reclaiming every year that has passed. Every memory is falling right back into place. I know every name and I remember every face. Now I tear through the veil, leave holes in the sky. I can read every thought in the blink of an eye. Danica, my witch, she's a magic in me. Yeah, I finally found what they took from me. With a hell on beside me, I'm standing my ground. No longer a ghost that's never been found. I ain't running no more, yeah, I'm ready to fight. Gonna settle that debt in the depth of the night. They tried to break me, they tried to erase, but they can't hide the blood from the scars on my face. The veil is thin and the engine is hot. I'm taking back everything that they thought I forgot. Now I tear through the veil, leave holes in the sky. I can read every thought in the blink of an eye. Danica, my witch, she's the magic in me. Yeah, I finally found what they took from me. With a hellhound beside me, I'm standing my ground. No longer a ghost that's never been found. I remember it all now. Every single face, I'm calling for you in the dead of the night.
Hello, everybody. My name's Henry. For those of you that don't know, for those of you that do, welcome back. Tonight, I'm going to take you on a trip up to northern Illinois. I was living up there for a spell, and I had to have something to do, so I started doing little odds and end jobs, building things, decks for people, and little repair works, mainly for those that didn't really have a lot of money, but they needed the job done anyway. Well, I'd got a call one night, probably about 7, 8 p.m. So I answered the call, and it was a older gentleman, and he proceeded to tell me that he needed a deck put up on his trailer, his house trailer, his mobile home. So I asked him where it was, and he told me, and he started kind of describing places that I might recognize when I drove by or something, to get me into the general location, because I didn't know a name a lot of these places up there. So, well, I had not heard of the place where he lived, but I'd went by that area, so I had a general idea, and he gave me directions. So I told him, I said, well, I ain't got nothing planned for tomorrow, so I'll come up and have a look-see. Well, he proceeded then to explain to me that he just wanted me to come up and give him a bid because metal hand railing and stoop, so to speak. It had 3 steps and then a platform, and you went straight inside the trailer. He said it was in pretty bad shape and he'd fallen a few times, and he was on disability, trying to raise a little girl. So I was like, well, I'll come up, and he goes, can you kind of keep it priced down a little bit? I said, well, yeah, that's no problem. Just let me come up and take a look, see what we can do. I can get some kind of a rough draft, and we'll figure something out. So I got off the phone and sat and watched TV for a little bit, me and the dog. And it was weird because I took the dog out, and you could feel like static in the air. Made your top of your head kind of tingle, and your hair on your arms stand up. Well, that's kind of strange. Dog done his business, and I smoked me a cigarette or two, and come in and got ready for bed. And even in the house, I noticed that I could feel the electricity in the air. But I was so darn tired, I just blew it off, and me and the dog went to bed. Next morning, I woke up. Alarm went off at 8 o'clock, so I got up, let the dog out in the backyard, smoked a few cigarettes, come in, ate breakfast, me and him. And I had to get ready to head out to go see this piece of property, this guy they called last night. So I went uptown, got fuel, and got me some morning caffeine. No, I don't drink coffee. Soda. Never could handle coffee. It just never did set right with me. But anyway, I headed on my way. And this place was northwest of Rock Falls and Sterling, Illinois. Well, anyway, I headed west, and then when you get down to where the old Walmart distribution center is, there's a 4-way there. You take a right, follow that road kind of north, and kind of goes off northwest. I followed that road, highway. Well, I started driving, and it was foggy. And still that static electricity was in the air, which I thought was kind of strange. But the other thing strange about the starting of that trip was I didn't see not one vehicle nowhere. Hell, I could have drove right down the middle of the highway and nobody had ever known. But I headed up there and trying to watch through the foggy haze, and it wasn't raining. That was the weird part. This was in the fall. I'm guessing probably late September, early October. And as I drove along quite a ways up the road there, I seen a sign on my right-hand side, and there was a turn-off. I damn near missed it. So I, a little hesitant on backing up, so I just did a U-ey and then made my turn in. Well, I followed his directions, said go down to the bottom of the hill, and before I come to the bridge, there'd be a turn to my left, and it was marked such and such trailer park. I won't use the name because I don't have permission to. Don't need a copyright slapped on me. So I pulled in, and he said, when you pull in, turn to your left, go up the hill, and right at the top of the hill, when you start to make the bend, his trailer was there on the left-hand side. He said, well, you can't miss it. My old red truck will be there. Okay. So I pulled in just ahead of the red truck, parked, and finished my cigarette. Wasn't long and I seen the trailer door come open and seen this big man step out. So I grabbed my little pad and stepped out and told him my name. He said, oh yeah, I talked to you last night, yeah. Well, them metal steps he had was pretty bad. I don't know how he was even using them, really. The welds had broke, and I don't even know what was keeping them up. So we stood there for a minute, jawing a little bit. Proceeded to tell me that he used to not be that big. I wasn't going to be rude. I just sat there and listened to him, let him talk while I was just kind of looking the situation over there. Kind of figuring in my head a little bit. And he goes, now, I'm on disability and I don't make very much. He said my wife had left when he went to the hospital, and when he got out, she dropped a little girl off and she just took off. Left him and divorced him. So he said that the trailer was his and he'd put a trailer in there in that trailer park and was barely keeping things afloat, but he was managing barely. So I proceeded to listen to him, not say anything, just nod and shake my head. Anyway, he had had a lot of medical problems, so he said, now what I'd like to have is one that goes from the front of the trailer, the full length. But at each door, in the two doors, I guess you'd call it the front door, front side door, and the back side door on the same side. He said, I want steps in case there's a fire in the front of the trailer. I can at least go to the back and come out the back way and not have to jump. Okay, so I'm jotting the notes down. Then he proceeded to tell me that he'd gotten a hold of the church in the next town, and he was a member there, he said, and they was going to be paying for the bill. And he said in the other part of the bill, the township had funds set up for people that needed it, and they'd be paying the other half of it. Okay. Never heard of such a thing, but I wasn't gonna call the man a liar. I'd seen all kinds of things. Well, anyway, he gave me two names. One was for the road commissioner that was going to donate some money. The other one was from a church, and he gave me that priest's name and the name of the church, and I wrote all that down. I even wrote their phone numbers down. He said, you can call to verify that I'm not just pulling your leg. Well, I'd intended on doing that, just to cover all bases. So he was proceeding to tell me more about how he wanted the deck, and in the center of it, he wanted a gate that you could fling open and a latch would catch in case he had to move a piece of furniture or something out. Then he wanted a small ramp built that could be removed. Okay? So I'm kind of sketching out a rough draft of what it would look like until I can get home and get a better sketch going. Just something to give me a mental reference when I got home. Well, I got my tape measure out. He told me how far out he wanted to come away from the place, and then I wanted to measure and make sure I didn't get into somebody else's yard there. Time he was done, you could have parked 2 trucks where this deck was going to be. Like, holy shit. But okay, hey. No skin off my ass. I can build them small or big, medium, don't make a difference. So when we got done, I got to take my measurements, writing things down. He goes, now you can call either one of those 2 numbers anytime from 3 p.m. on. Okay. He goes, when do you think you can start? I can start anytime. I finished up the job yesterday. I had planned on taking a break, but I figured, okay, I got the call, I'll take it and see where it goes. So he told me, he said, just keep me informed. He said, I told these 2 people that you'd be calling. You will call when you get home. I said, yeah, I called them. He stayed away because they'll release the funds to you, not me. Okay, understand. So, I get him my stuff, got back in the truck, and waved goodbye, and I headed down the road. Well, I made the loop to the trailer park, and I thought, this is kind of strange. Nice fall afternoon, I don't see nobody outside. Don't even look like the trailers are being lived in. When I got ready to come out down at the bottom, I come past what he was told me was it was a double wide trailer, and he said that was the office and this lady's home that owned this place. Well, I come right beside it, staring right straight at the front door of the office and the house. Didn't look like nobody lived there. There was a vehicle there, but I didn't pay too much attention to it. I just mainly see if I could see some kind of movement. So I come to the stop sign there and made my turn to the right. Went up the hill. And there was still a foggy haze. It was, I don't know, the foggy haze was kind of a grayish, yellow, green, just real weird looking. But I was too focused on the task at hand, thinking about what this guy was saying and about his story. Now, I'm not calling the man a liar because, you know, just what he told me, and then later on it got verified that everything he said was true. Well, you'll hear more about that here shortly. I pulled out to the stop sign there and got ready to make my turn back onto the highway because the road I was just on was gravel. So I turned to the right on the highway and started going down the road. For whatever reason, and I don't know why, it was like somebody turned on the go to sleep mode. And I started nodding. So I cranked the window down and sucking that nice fall air. And I don't remember the rest of the trip home. It gets weirder. When I thought I had got home, the alternate word is thought. I pulled into the driveway, got out, unlocked the door, and went in the house. Went into the bedroom, opened a big kennel crate up, let my dog out, went back to the back door where I parked the truck, let the dog out to go to the bathroom, stood there and smoked a cigarette. Didn't pay attention to it in the house other than going and opening the crate and letting him out because I knew he had to go to the bathroom. I come back in after letting him out and went to where I had remembered putting the dog food container. I was going to get the bowl and fill it up and set it down for him to eat while I was fixing me something to eat. But when I went to get the dog food where I thought it was at, it wasn't there. Well, this is weird. I know for a fact it was in there. So I went out into the back room, and there was a great big container in there. I didn't remember the container being in there. I was like, God damn, I'm losing it. But I opened the lid. Sure enough, his dog food was in there, and there was the dipper in there, so I figured I must be losing it. I just started scooping dog food. Got his bowl filled up. He followed me back into the kitchen. I put it down there in the corner, and he went to eat, and I started to fix me something to eat. Well, I done like I'd normally do. Opened up the oven, and that's where I kept the big cast iron skillets. But when I opened it, there wasn't no cast iron skillets in there. Now I'm like, what the shit? I know for a fact they're in there because that's where I always kept them. Why the hell would I keep them someplace that I wouldn't be using them? I always used them, washed them, dried them, re-seasoned them, and then put them back in the oven. They wasn't in there. Okay. So beside the oven, there's a long door. It was an older stove, gas stove. Thought, well, maybe I might have, in my tired state, maybe I put them in there. Why? I have no clue. Opened that up. There wasn't nothing in there. That's weird. Where the hell would I put them damn things? So I'm sitting there trying to think, if I was Henry, where would I put those at? Now, I know for a fact I wouldn't put them up where the plates are. But I'll go check anyway. When I opened the door where the plate was right above the sink, there wasn't no plates in there. Cups and glasses were in there. I never kept those in there. Not in that spot. So I went to the door to the left, cabinet on the wall, opened it up. There were bowls in there. My bowls, I would have kept them on the left-hand side, not the right, or on the right-hand side, not the left-hand side. Everything was just not where it was supposed to be, which was driving me a little crazy. Because when I got ready to fix breakfast that morning, everything was where it should be. Now, nothing is where it's supposed to be. Finally, there was a great big drawer underneath a row of drawers. I opened that up. There was my small cast iron skillet. I guess y'all would call it a medium size, but it was the smallest one I had. So I thought, well, hell, that'll work. So I got it out. Throw me some meat in there to cook. So, okay, I'll get me a little bit of oil to put in there. So, I go to the pantry cabinet, open it up. There ain't nothing in there except for some coats hanging. What the hell? That's my pantry cabinet. Why in the hell would I put clothes in there? Where the hell did I put my cooking oil and stuff at? So I'm running around the kitchen. I finally locate everything, but nothing is in its spot. So I proceeded to cook myself something to eat. Got done eating, I put the dirty dishes in the sink. Put hot water in there, a little Dawn dishwashing soap, let it break loose the stuff, and I went in and sat down and watched TV, me and the dog. Well, after a while, I come back in and done my dishes and dried them, put them back away in the spots that they didn't belong, but hey, whatever. And I'm thinking, damn, this ain't right. So I go in, I'm sitting there watching TV, and now it's really bugging the shit out of me. I don't know what made me do it, but I started looking around in the room. Nothing in that room was the same as when I left. I never changed nothing. I'm one of those people, if it ain't broke, don't screw with it. If I hang a picture up there, as long as I'm living there, that picture's going to stay in that one spot. I ain't going to be changing around. I ain't going to be changing furniture and all that shit around. Must be just a man thing. Saying, what in the hell? Everything's different in here. I'll go check out the rest of the rooms. That I must be losing my flopping mind. Go into the bathroom, I'm like, there's shit in here that I don't remember being here. Damn, I must have really been tired from that last job. So I go back in and started watching TV, trying to figure out what the hell's going on. Maybe somebody playing a trick on me. You know, like back a long time ago when people got married, while they was at the wedding reception, people go in and rearrange their house. Everything in the bedroom be put in the living room stuff be put in the bedroom. Change things around, just screw with them. Or they put rice in their bed. I thought somebody pranked me. When I got thinking, if they'd have got in the house, that dog would have ate them alive. Besides, that door was locked, no one had a key with me. So, that didn't happen. So I was like, heck with this, too much to think about. I must really be just crazy tired. So I take the dog back out, let him go to the bathroom. While he's at to go in the bathroom, I'm out there smoking, watching traffic go by in the fog. Gets done, we go back in the house and tell him, I said, dude, I must really be tired because things are really screwy. Well, people talk to their pets, even though they may not admit it, they do, and I did, and I still do. I was like, dude, if I get to losing my mind and totally flip out, before I walk outside in my underwear and get hit by a car on the road, yank me back in the house. And that dog just kind of cocked his head and looked at me like, okay, I got you. Let's go to bed. I go in there. Now, I'd have been in there earlier to let him out. I go in there to where the bed should have been. The bed wasn't there anymore. There was a dresser there in a spot, and it was over against the wall on the other side of the room. Like, I'm too tired to screw with this. I walked over and pulled the covers back, jumped in, flopped the covers back, and pulled the Afghan up from the bottom of the bed. That's what the dog slept on. And told him to jump in. After he turned a few circles and bulldogged his head in the blankets, rooting like a hog, flopping on me, he finally got comfortable. He was ready to go to sleep, twisted in a pretzel. And let me tell you something about that dog. Every time you make a move, he'd move with you. But I didn't know any different. I swear that damn dog was trying to spoon me. But anyway, I fell asleep. And I literally, when I went to sleep, I was dead to the world. I mean, I was like, poof. I never go to sleep that fast. You can ask my wife. I lay there sometimes for 30 minutes to an hour. Lay perfectly still. When my wife go to bed, tops 10 to 15 minutes. And I started hearing snoring. I ain't saying I don't snore. I'm just saying I don't go to sleep like that. That night I did. So I'm thinking, okay, maybe this is a dream. I'll wake up and everything will be back to normal. Well, come morning, the alarm goes off. I forgot about calling those people. I was so wrapped up into what I was thinking about the house being not right. So I get up, take him out, go to the bathroom, smoke morning cigarette, drink my soda out there while I'm waiting for him to get done sniffing and peeing and sniffing the air. He gets done, we go back in the house, and I start fixing something for me and him to eat. But I won't lie to you. If I had eggs, I always give him the yolks. And I don't like yolks. Call me chicken prejudice, I don't know. I always eat bacon, too, and I know doctors say you shouldn't cause hardening of the arteries, but hey, if I'm going to die, I'm going to die eating what I want, and I'm going to probably die with a smile on my face, thinking, yeah, death may have got me, but I got a damn good breakfast before I died. Got done, I let the dog out again, throwing stuff in the truck, just taking stuff out, throwing stuff in. And I thought, well, what the hell, I'm going to try to call these people. So first I called the road commissioner, told him who I was and what this guy's name was. He goes, oh, yeah, we do have funds set aside. Did he tell you what he wanted? I said, well, that's what I need to talk to you about. I said, he said he wants a full deck that runs from one end of that trailer to the other end. He wants it 30 foot out away from the trailer wide. He wants 2 sets of steps, and then in the center he wants a door with a gate and a ramp built. He goes, I didn't agree to all that. He said, all I agreed was for one door or the other, like where you step out a platform and stairs with handrails. I said, oh, no, it's just what he told me. I said, but whatever you decide, I said. He goes, no, I ain't paying for all of it now. He said, we got the funds, but he said, I got to spread this out around because other people need stuff too. And he said, did he give you the name of the priest? I said, yeah, he did. He said, he's supposed to pick up the other half of the bill. I said, okay. I said, well, let me get with him. And as soon as I get a hold of him and get done talking to him, I'll call you right back. I said, maybe one of those things where we have to do like a 3-way call eventually. He goes, that'd be fine, just call me back. He said, ain't gonna going on a day anyway. Okay. So I call the priest, and I tell him the same thing. He wants a deck all the way the full length of the trailer, 30 foot out, 2 sets of steps and a ramp in the center with a gate. Whoa, 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 we didn't agree to that. I said, oh, I'm just telling you what he told me. I said, if you and the road commissioner are putting up the funds for this, it's whatever you guys say, that'll be what done. And if he can't agree to that, then I guess that the project just don't get done. I damn sure ain't paying for it. I said, but what I will do, I only charge $20, and that's just for my gas. That'll be my time through in free. I said, but you all have to come up with the materials, or he does. Somebody has to come up with materials, because I can't go that route. And he said the same thing the road commissioner did. Just one door, which would be the front door, would get the stoop, which is like a 6 by maybe 8 platform step out, handrails around it, and a set of steps down wherever he wants the steps, and a handrail. Okay. So I got back with the road commissioner. He goes, I'll agree to the stoop with the steps and the handrails on one door or the other. You can either have it on the front or the back. It's up to him. Be smarter to put it in the front. I said, yeah, okay, I'll tell him. So I go to call the guy back. Nobody answered. Okay, maybe he's busy. So I go out, cut the grass. When I get done, I come back in and I call his number again. No answer. That's weird. Okay, maybe he's busy. So I go back in the house, farting around, me and the dog, and watch TV for a while. And it was probably about 2 hours later, my phone rings. So I look at the number. I don't know who the hell that is, but I'll answer it. So I answered it, and there was a lady on the phone. She said, I'm sorry that he didn't get back hold of you, that he didn't get your phone calls. Okay. I ain't sure who I'm talking to, so I ain't volunteering nothing. She goes, he's just been kind of tied up, and I'm a friend of his. Okay. I said, well, I talked to the priest and the road commissioner, and they only agreed to a stoop, porch, whatever you want to call it, with one set of steps and handrails at either the front door or the back door. That's it. Oh, he's going to be mad. I said, well, if they're paying for it, he's only going to get one or the other. I said, but if he wants to contribute some money, I'll build that son of a gun however long he wants, however big he wants. But that's all they're going to contribute. I told him I'd get a hold of him, and I tried a couple times. That's what you said he was busy, so are you going to relay the message? He goes, yeah, I'll tell him. Okay, tell him to call me back if he wants to discuss it, when he wants me to start, and they're going to let me know when I can go get the money. So it goes on probably another hour or so. He calls me back, and oh my God, he is pissed. I listened to him, let him blow off. When he was done, I said, look, they're donating the money out of their funds. So if they're donating the money, they're only going to put up so much money, and they're giving you a choice. Both of them agreed. You get a stoop handrails and a step, or nothing. Oh my God, he went off again. I sat there listening. I said, but if you want to get money and throw in there, I'll make it as big as you want. Because I'm just telling you what they told me. I'm just delivering the message. Now, I will donate all my time except for $20 to this project to help you out. That's the best I can do. I suppose it's up to you. You don't want me to do it, I can call them back and tell them that you didn't want to do the project. That's no problem. He hangs up on me and calls me back about 10 minutes later. I don't agree to all this. This is crap because these rich people get by, so I don't care what they get by with. I'm just telling you what they're going to do, what they can do. There's other people, too, that they have to help out. So after listening to him growl about it, he agreed. So that afternoon I called the road commissioner, the priest up, and told them, and they said, are you doing anything today? I was like, no, just playing phone tag. Road commissioner told me to come to right there, just past that trailer park, and he'd be there and across the bridge there, and that on that road there's a little, like a big machine shed, and he said, I'll be there at my office and I'll cut a check. He needed to know how much it was going to be, and I said, I'll give you a guess. And he said, anything over this here, just come and let me know. But he said, we'll just keep it between me and you and the priest, and he don't get his hands on the money. I said, okay. So I went over to the next town where this big cathedral was, big church. And I pulled in there, and the priest met me, told him who I was, and showed him the rough draw of the sketch and a guesstimate. He goes, well, I'm going to write a check out of the church funds. And he said, if it's any more, a little bit over that, before you spend the money out of your own pocket, you come here and get the money from me. I said, okay. And he said, the road commissioner. I said, okay, I got it. He goes, and the road commissioner said the same thing. He said, when you're done, we'd like to see pictures of it. Okay. Because he had to show the people in his township, that's where some of the money went. Same with the priest, he had to show his congregation where this donation went to and what it was for. So I agreed, no problem. And I told each one of them that I would donate all my time for free, except for $20. That'd be 10 from the road commissioner, 10 from the priest, just to pay for my gas expenses. And that was all. So, on the way home, I went to the place and got the materials and stuff I needed, the screws and lumber, put it in the truck, because it wasn't forecasting no rain, but it was still this foggy haze, just weird shit, electricity in the air. So I got everything I thought I would need. When I got home, opened up the garage, backed the truck in there, so either way I knew if they was going to break into my truck, they was going to have to break into that garage door. By the time they got in there, I'd turn the dog loose on them, flush them out like a cubby of quail. And I shut the garage door and locked it. I didn't pay it much attention. I just went on in the house, let the dog back out, and I'm still looking around thinking, Jesus Christ, I must be in a damn nightmare. Well, I messed around, and evening come, and Me and the dog ate. Took him back outside. Went in, watched a little TV, and went to bed. Now, I should have thought that was weird because I didn't get no work calls. That was unusual because, dude, I was so busy when I was doing this kind of work. My phone rang 24/7. And I had people stacked up, 15 and 20 deep, wanting me to do work for them that these contractors wouldn't do. Either one because they was charging too much gouging, or they just simply refused. I didn't turn down no work. I went to bed, still confused on why in the hell my bed just switched around and I didn't do it. I know nobody else did. So the next morning I got up, went to my routine, let the dog out, fixed something to eat, headed up the road, and it's still foggy out, and there's still a static electricity in the air. Thinking, damn, that's weird. Now I'm drinking on my soda, so I'm heading up there. I'd packed me a lunch because I figured I'd probably work through noon. Maybe stop long enough to grab me a bite to eat and a soda out of the cooler. I got up there and damn near missed my turn again. This time I did have to back up about a car link. I'm glad there wasn't a vehicle coming because I got hit in the ass. It's been my fault. I turned left, go down that gravel road, bottom the hill, and before you cross the bridge, turn left, go in the trailer park. I go to the top of the hill, and just right as you make the bend, his trailer is right there on the left-hand side. So I pulled in there again in front of his red truck. Well, he come outside. Still a little PO'd. But at least this time he wasn't taking it out on me. I said, do you want this built in the front, by the front door or by the back door? Well, of course, he was still a little pissy, and he was like, what in the hell do you think? I said, that's up to you. I'll put the summit on top of your house if you want me to. I just thought I'd be nice and ask, which do you prefer? Well, the logical place would be by the front door. Logical works for me. I suppose we have to move these metal stairs. Now, each step, he'd put concrete blocks to hold the step up on one side where the weld is broke. So we're going to have to move all that and anything he had around it before I could even get started. So that alone was probably going to take a good 30 minutes to an hour. But there was all kinds of shit under there. So I just kind of blew it off. Figured he's just pissed from the night before. So I got my rake out of the truck and started pulling stuff out from under the porch thing, whatever the hell you want to call it. It must not have been cleaned in umpteen years, because there was piles of leaves about knee deep under there, boots, some kind of old parts, a couple spare tires. Had to yank all that stuff out of there, and a pile of leaves too. Then had to move those metal steps with the concrete blocks. So I thought, okay, we'll put these at the back door, put the blocks back under them, so at least if a fire broke out in the front, he could run to the back, or get to the back, come out the door, and at least get out of the house without getting burned up, because it's a fire safety code. So I'm dragging them back there. I put the blocks back in, blocked them back up, made sure everything was secure. So I go up there, and he's got a picnic table out there by that tree, by where the front deck's gonna go, front stoop, what do you want to call it. I go grab my cooler and set it up there on top of the picnic table and grab me a soda out, grab me a cigarette, put me together a quick sandwich, and I'm sitting there, and he comes out of the house. Just, what are you doing? So I'm taking a damn break. Why? Well, I'd assume that you would just get busy. I said, well, first of all, you're assuming that I'm getting paid by the hour. I don't charge by the hour. I charge by the job. Well, if I was paying you, I'd fire your ass. I said, see, that's where you're wrong. I'm donating my time to this project. Other people are donating the money. You could be a little bit appreciative instead of being such an asshole. Now, for your information, if you was paying me and you was being an asshole like you are right now, I'd pick up my cooler, I'd put it in the back of my truck, I'd put the key in the ignition, I'd take my ass out of here. And no matter how much begging or pleading or much more money you would offer, I wouldn't come back. I'd eat that lumber that's in the back of that truck and the screws and everything just to prove a point. There's two things I won't put up with on these jobs. Being treated like shit, and you touch me. You put your hands on me, somebody's going to be in deep shit. And at that point, when you put your hands on me, I don't think about logic. So you know where that leads. I consider that a full-scale attack, and I will deal with such things on that level. Do I make myself clear? Well, he just kind of stood there and looked at me. I said, are we on that understanding? Do you understand that? I'm usually pretty easygoing, but I work too damn hard. I'm donating my time. I went and made phone calls to these people, and that should have been up to you. Now, would you like to start fresh? I ain't getting paid by the hour. I'd never get paid by the hour. Only by the job. And the reason I do that is because if I want to stand around and have a smoke break, a soda break, I'm damn well going to. Because when I start working, I'm all assholes and elbows. I don't play. I don't take advantage of people. And I don't talk down to people unless they start it. So long as we get that clear, do I need to just go ahead and pack my shit and go? And I'll just take the materials back, get the money back, and give those people back their money, and you just put on a parachute and jump? No? I said, then I'd advise you to go back in the house, put on your big boy panties before you come back out and address me again. I'd appreciate that. I'm not your kick-around dog. Well, he shut the door quietly on the trailer and went in. So I'm out there getting things ready after I smoke my cigarette, drink my soda. Then I smoked another cigarette before I started. Well, I worked right up until the time the pole light come on. Trying to make sure I get as much done as I possibly can. because that way I know he'd have a good set of steps come out and he wouldn't fall and break his neck. Well, I told him, I said, well, I don't have lights to work by, and besides that, I've been here all day long. I'm gonna head home and I'll be back in the morning. So I'm wore out. I'm just pooped. I ain't recovered yet from the last job. So I got in the truck. He was a lot more docile. So I told him goodbye and I'd see him next day, and I left. And once again, I looked, when I got to the bottom of the hill and looked at where he said the office was, it didn't look like there was anybody living there. Just big double white chairs, so okay, whatever, pulled out. And there's still that hazy fog with that weird color, kind of a grayish, yellow, greenish, weird looking. So again, I put on the highway and headed home. Got home, I let the dog out. Unlocked the door, let the dog out. Let him do his business. Got done. Went in, fixed something to eat for me and him. Sat, started to watch TV a little bit. Dozed off for a little bit. Decided I better go to bed before I end up sleeping here all night. Wake up next morning with a kink in my neck. So I let him out again. Then we went to bed. Next morning, alarm went off. Same routine. Got up, let him out, smoked my cigarette to get my bearings. Come in, fixed breakfast. Let him out again. And I locked him up in his crate in the house, and I headed off to work. Well, I had everything except for I needed one damn 2x6, an 8-footer. I was like, well, hell, I don't want to run all the way back to where I got all this stuff at. I'll just go up the road. There's a small little town up there, and I'll just go get a... It's probably going to cost me more than it would at that bigger store, but I didn't feel like driving all the way and waste a bunch of gas money, so I told him I said I needed one 2x6 to finish the job. So I get in the truck. I'm heading up north, drinking my soda, smoking my cigarette, having a good old time. Went up there and told him I needed a 2x6, 8 foot long. So they set me up with it, and yeah, it was about $3 or $4 more, but time you figure out the gas, it wasn't going to matter anyway. So I got the ticket on it, so I could turn that in. I had to keep track of all this stuff. This way they know that I wasn't gouging, cheating, rooking, whatever the hell you want to call it. So I got back and grabbed the board and took it up there and laid it by the porch I was building, the deck, stoop, whatever you want to call it there. So I'm sitting there on the picnic table, drinking a soda, eating me a snack, and smoking a cigarette. And yeah, you can do all three at one time. That's true coordination. Stupidity, but it's coordination, I guess. He come out of the house and he goes, man, this thing don't even shake or nothing. I said, it shouldn't. I made it out of heavy materials. I said, I'm not trying to say anything bad about you. I said, but I know you're a big guy, and they told me you was, so I made sure that it would more than hold you. I said, you could just, if the handrails wasn't on it, you could probably put a ramp up there and drive a truck, put the front wheels on the deck, and it wouldn't crash. He goes, I don't think it would. So he come out there and sat on the picnic table, and then his little girl come out. So we're sitting there, and I say, hey, I said, if you want a soda, you two, in the cooler there. I said, there's two different kinds of soda. There's Mountain Dew and Sam's Cola if you want. Grab you one out of there. I said, I didn't think about it the other day when I was here. But a little girl looked at her dad, and her dad said, yeah, it's okay. So she got her one out, and he goes, I can't have soda. He said, my diabetes. That's okay. I said, I don't have any water. I don't drink beer, and I don't mess with any kind of dope, so you're more than welcome to look at my cooler. So when I got done, I went back to work. Finished up that board, had to measure and mark it, cut it, and attach it to the deck. So I get done, I'm putting my cooler and stuff, salt and stuff back in the truck, and he goes, man, he said, I appreciate it so much. He said, I'm going to call the road commissioner and the priest and tell him that you really done a damn good job. I said, well, yeah, I got to take pictures. So I took pictures of it. And I told him goodbye and told the little girl goodbye and gave her a Mountain Dew because I was leaving. So again, I go down past the office like normal. Don't look like nobody living there. Which I thought was weird. If for an office and a home, you would think it would have lights and curtains. Oh well, whatever, to each their own. I headed on home. Now, I get home, park the truck in the driveway, unlock the door in the house. I walk straight into the kitchen, turn left, go into the bedroom, and I let the dog out, and it was like a bolt of lightning hit me in the head. I was like, what the hell? I turned and looked. My bed is back where it was the way I remembered it. That's weird. God damn, I am losing it. So I take the dog on outside because he's got to go to the bathroom. After he does his business, I smoke a few cigarettes thinking about the bed being moved. I'm like, well, that's kind of weird. Maybe it's a ghost. I don't know. We get done, we come back in the house. I decide I'm hungry, so I'm going to make me and the dog something to eat. I go back into the room where the dog food had mysteriously been moved to. The dog food ain't there. I'm like, what the hell? So I go back to where I normally would keep it. And lo and behold, there's the big container in there. God damn, I'm losing it. So I put the dog food in there. Go in there. And I'm going to fix me and him a pork steak. I go to where I had found the skillet. The skillet's wasn't there no more. What the hell? So I go and check the oven. There's my 3 skillets. The big cast iron skillets. So I checked cabinets. Everything is back in order where it should have been, and I didn't move none of it. And I ain't got nobody there with me that would be moving that shit. The doors wasn't tampered with, so nobody broke in to do it. If they'd have got in there, I'd have found them, because the dog would have had them by the ass. So I'm thinking, damn, I really must be losing my damn marbles. I'm standing there cooking me something to eat. I hear a knock on the door. So I turn the gas stove down, low flame, put the lid on top of them while they're cooking. I go to answer the door. It's the city cop, one of them that I knew, or got to know. He said, I sure am glad to see you. I was like, okay, what was I accused of? What do you think I did? And why are you glad to see me? He had kind of laughed. He goes, where in the hell have you been? I've been working. Was you staying at the site where you was working? No. I come home every afternoon. That time the pole light was coming on. He goes, you know we patrol. And this is one of the streets that we patrol on. And he said, I always look to see if your vehicle's there, because I'd stop in and drink a cup of coffee, shoot the shit with you. I said, yeah, I know. I said, I thought maybe there was something wrong. I hadn't seen you in a couple of days. He goes, you do realize that I work nights? Yeah, no shit. And he said, I still haven't seen you or your truck. But you must be blind, because I've been home every night, let the dog out, fix me something, and me and him something to eat, watch TV, pee in the dog, and then go to bed. He goes, is everything okay with you? Yeah, why wouldn't it be? I'm a survivor, man. Well, he said, I hate to break the news to you. You have not been home for 4 days. That's why I hate to break the news to you, but you better check your medication, boy. I have come home every day, slept in my bed, let the dog out, ate my own cooking, which ain't too damn bad, and went back to work. He goes, really? I said, you goddamn right. I said, as a matter of fact, go up to the gas station up there and ask them if I wasn't up there just a couple days ago. How many days you say I've been gone? 4 days? Go up there and ask them, because I stopped up there and got gas the other day. He said, you have a receipt for that? I said, what the hell do I want a receipt for? I should just throw them in a damn trash can. I almost said threw it out the window. That would have really went over real good with a cop, wouldn't it? He goes, I don't mean to be cross with you. We're friends. But you ain't been home. But I'm going to go up there and check. Let's knock yourself out. I'm like, damn. I'm losing my mind. He's losing his. The whole damn place is going crazy. He's gone probably about 15, 20 minutes and he comes back. He comes up, knocks on the door. I said, well, you ready to apologize? Or your medication has been switched? He started laughing. He goes, I hate to tell you, but that lady up there said you ain't been in there. I said, bullshit. But I didn't have a receipt to prove it. He goes, you're not in no kind of trouble or nothing. He said, I just wondered, I got kind of worried. I said, I've been home every damn night. You haven't been. He said, well, I go by every hour and your truck was never come home. Okay, I said, are you busy? No, I'm sitting there talking to you. I said, what time do you get off? He said, I usually get off about 5 a.m. I said, I'll tell you what. I'm going to set my alarm for 4:30. Then, when you get off, you come straight to here to the house. I'll have the back porch light on. I said, if not, just come up and beat on the door. Why? I said, I'm going to take you and show you where I've been at. There's been all kinds of weird shit going on, but I'm going to take you up there and show you. If you don't need to do that, yeah, I do. Like, there's been some weird shit going on, and I'm going to get to the bottom of it. So, when he got off, he pulled in, and I went up there and hopped in his truck with him. He goes, where to? I started heading west out there on the highway. He Turned on the highway and we started heading west. We got there by a distribution center, and I told him, I said, right here, turn your blinker on and turn to the right. He said, where the hell are you taking me to? I said, there's no trailer park quite a ways up the road up here. He said, are you sure? Yeah, that's where I was at working. Shithead, when the hell do you think I was at? So we head on up the road, and it's still that hazy fog, but it's starting to clear up and kind of see the sun peeking. We get up to where the sign is, and I said, right here, turn to the left, turn your blinker on. He turned down there, and I mean, the look on his face was like he smelled a skunk all of a sudden. He goes, don't tell me at the bottom of the hill you're going to tell me to turn left before the bridge. I said, yeah. He locked the brakes up on that truck. I damn near hit my head on the window. And he goes, Are you sure you're okay? Did you hit your head or something? I was like, no, why? So I pulled my head off. Did you see any fucking knots on my head? He goes, I'm not trying to be mean. I'm going to prove it to you. There's old trailers there. It used to be a trailer park. That thing hasn't been a trailer park since the 1970s. I said, you're full of shit. We're fixing to get into a fight. Drive on. I'm going to prove to you. And he goes, if I drive on, you're the one's going to get egg on your face. I said, well, I'll take the eggs. We went down below the hill, and he turned in. He was right. All them trailers were run down looking. Nobody had been living there for a long-ass time. There wasn't no cars there. But up there with that one trailer I'd been working was an old red Chevrolet pickup that had been sitting there so long, the paint was really rusted and faded. And I told him to pull up there, and we pulled in there. There was this old rundown trailer with no windows. Door broke off, but had a brand new deck that I had built. And he goes, well, I see the new deck. I said, yeah. Stick your head underneath of it and look. He goes, what did you do? I said, stick your head in there and look. I put my name and date on there. And he looked and about shit his pants. He got up under there and he goes, man, he said, let's get the fuck out of here. I said, well, can you tell me what's going on? He goes, you went through a time slip. I said, that's exactly what I'm thinking. I said, the real weird part was, my house was in that time slip too. But everything was changed around. I said, that was the weird shit I was talking about. We got out of there and went back to the house. He got out, come in, and he goes, you got anything in here stiff to drink? I said, I told you I don't drink. I said, but wait a minute. In the fridge, I got a mason jar of moonshine. I said, I keep for medicinal purpose in case I get sick. You know, he opened up that whole jar, and it was more than 3/4 way full, and he drank a quarter of it. That dude was so pickled. When he stood up, he hit the floor like he had rubber band legs. I'd drive poor bastard home. The whole entire time I lived up there, he would come down and say, dude, you was gone for 4 days. I said, I know. Wasn't the first time it's ever happened. I said, but luckily each time I escaped the time slip. Well, I don't do a lot of that kind of work anymore. I still can. I still have the tools to do it. I just don't. Because anybody that's watched my videos knows because of the projects that I'm prone to enter these time slips, whatever you want to call them. And sometimes you know, and at other times you may not know. And this is one of those times that I did not know until afterwards. And even then I wouldn't have known but that cop. And we went back there. I mean, I thought strange things was weird at my house, but it was because I was still in that time slip. So, I don't know how to explain it. I know I went home, but nobody else knew that I went home. Now, could that time slip have been into a parallel universe? That's what I'm leaning toward. I'll never probably get no answers on that because I stay away from my old handlers. It had nothing to do with them. I damn sure ain't gonna go ask no questions. So if I can't figure it out on my own, guess I'll never know. In any case, it really did happen. So nowadays, I don't do a lot of traveling. I'm quite content at home. I've got a beautiful wife, a red-headed freckled dog that's just about as ornery as me sometimes. No, I think he's a little worse. He don't like nobody. And I've got a nice little place where I live. I don't need to travel around. I've traveled enough in the world, and the way these time slips are and the way this CERN thing is, and they keep opening bigger spaces in time and all that, people's going to start noticing a lot more of those. I don't need to disappear and leave my wife or my dog. They're both my best friends. And my wife gives me shit all the time. She said, "You love that damn dog more than you do me." I said, "Now wait a minute, that's a different kind of love. There's a human love, and then there's a love from a human to an animal. It's a different type of love. It's like the difference between two colors, red and blue. So you can't compare the two. So there's my story for tonight. And hope it resonated with some of you. Hope some of you found it interesting. It really did happen. It's true. And that's just said, I don't travel much anymore. I really don't leave without my wife or my dog. I figure, hell with it. If I'm going to happen to fall into a time slip, time warp, whatever the hell you want to call them, portal, I'm at least going to take those two with me. The dog will keep anybody off my back. My wife, she'll keep me occupied. She'll try to keep me under control. That's her job, keep me out of trouble. Not let me fall into a place like that and fall in the wrong hands, like those damn handlers. Trust me, between her and the dog, I don't have too many worries. Because what one don't come up with, the other one will. So, if you like the story, give me a thumbs up or leave me a message. But it did happen. I just don't want to be caught in one and be taken away from my dog or my wife. We've been dehydrating peaches, and I picked peaches yesterday off the tree and got them all picked, and we're dehydrating them, and we enjoy those damn things in winter. So I'll get off here and go have me a smoke, soda. Now I'm going to bed. Y'all have a good night, and thanks for watching. Good night.